Out of all matters that are important in a game, there is one overlooked in many popular games. Of course, you need iconic characters, a good story, and of course good gameplay, but the soundtrack is often overlooked, until it becomes a meme, but more about that later. When I read a review of a game or watch someone making a video on the game, I don't often hear about the soundtracks, maybe a short mention, but that's about it. And sure, in some games they can be forgettable. Look at something like EA FC 24 or the newest Call of Duty games. There is more wrong with games like that, but I did not want to get into that today. What I wanted to do today is look at the importance of soundtracks. I want to talk about a few games, but I'll start with a newer one. Helldivers 2 is a game that's praised for many things. The gameplay, the lore, the cinematic moments, and many other features, but the soundtrack is, while acknowledged, often not dug into too much. This probably has to do with the fact that at a certain point while playing the game, you want to turn on your own music while playing. The soundtrack actually slaps. It does a similar thing to what Apex Legends does when dropping in, where the music builds up dramatically while dropping, and the music stopping while you land. This gets you excited for the mission, makes you feel like an absolute badass, and motivates you to spread democracy. And additionally, there is also a defensive soundtrack that plays when you are leaving, to keep you alert while waiting for that terrible pilot who always just lands too late. And of course, the main title that is just beautiful, patriotic, and mostly epic. And epic is something that is used in a lot of games. Moving on to God of War, which has mostly just beautifully orchestrated classical music that gets you emotional, which to be fair is pretty common in gaming, but then completely making it original with how characteristic each soundtrack is. The moment you hear you know Kratos is mildly infuriated after scrolling through r/mildly infuriating. The Dwarf Brothers theme being very adventurous but also cautious, perfectly mirroring the Dwarf Brothers' behaviors, with Brock being a very loudmouth out there personality, while his brother Sindri is a lot more cautious and afraid. And then there's this banger. Thor's theme in God of War Ragnarok was in fact so incredible that I failed the first boss fight against him 3 times because I was just listening to the banger with incredible build-up. Not only does it reflect Thor's might, of course, but it also reflects his carelessness and ruthless behaviors. He doesn't really think for himself, he is, as the song suggests in the title, Odin's right hand. The composer, McCreary, who also appears in God of War Ragnarok, did an outstanding job here and made sure you knew exactly who or what was appearing on screen by just listening to the soundtrack. You need no voices and no vision for it. But there's another game that does that. Ironically enough, Bury the Light is not in the original story of Devil May Cry 5, considering you don't touch the jukebox, of course, which is a bummer since my entire playthrough of this game's story I was hoping for this banger, but I really didn't miss it too much. Devil Trigger, of course, is an incredibly iconic theme and it definitely is a great fit for slashing demons. This very hyper electric like beat is incredible, especially with the great system influencing the music going louder and more chaotic the more you are doing combos. Other tracks like Subhuman or Crimson Cloud were also incredibly energizing, with Subhuman being very on brand for Dante. Dante is legit a badass and also just has the style of a metalhead, so his theme is a great way to feel like you are actually Dante. With Crimson Cloud also being a great theme for V. The hidden darkness and unsolved mystery of V as a character is perfectly reflected inside the song. There's even some hints in the lyrics to who he really is, but most of us didn't even catch on to that. And while I consider it maybe the least of the original 4 character themes, I definitely do not dislike it. Bury the Light is another level. It is crazy to me, since people who did not buy the special edition will have completely missed out on this. Bury the Light is a perfect electric metalcore hit with a very aggressive bass, an incredible lyrics, and more importantly, one of the most recognizable chorus in gaming, period.
You shall die!
I am the storm that is approaching.
It reflects Virgil perfectly as well, his self-confidence obviously being reflected with the lyrics, but also the loss he went through throughout his life, having lost everything and only wanting to redeem that with power. This song also makes you feel like the mightiest being on the planet and having all that power, but it's not the only game soundtrack that does that. If you thought we were going to talk about music without mentioning Doom Eternal, you were dead wrong. Now, a lot of Doom Eternal's soundtrack, especially in the DLC, has parts missing since Mick Gordon didn't work on all of it, but the parts he did work on are incredible. Now, the only thing They Fear Is You is great, but it's also so famous that I won't talk about it too much. But the title, I do want to mention that a little, because that is what is going on. The only thing the demons fear is you, and that is replicated through several soundtracks, not just The Only Thing They Fear. One perfect example that I'd like to mention is Super Core Nest. Like Devil May Cry 5, the music in Doom Eternal changes on basis of how much you are ripping and tearing. The music's intimidating, overpowering, and sometimes feels wrong, perfectly singing the fear that the demons have of the Demon Slayer. Doom music is much like what I'd call reverse boss music. Instead of the music making you feel like you are facing an all-powerful opponent, you feel like the all-powerful opponent. But of course that started with Doom 2016, and Doom 2016 had some songs that did this perfectly as well. BFG Division is unforgettable in that sense. For an incredibly long time, you're waiting for the music to finally hit, while listening to what I can only describe as a beeping time bomb that's about to go off. And when it goes off, let me tell you, it goes off. The music in this game reflects everything the player is doing and the vibes of the area that the player is walking through. Just for the music, I would recommend Doom Eternal to anyone. And now I wanted to come back on what I said before, because if you've noticed anything about the games that I've talked about, there is a common theme. No, not that they are all PvE, but the fact that in some sense they have all turned into a meme. Doom music being famous for people just completely going mad. Devil May Cry music or Bury the Light being, I don't know what this meme is. You can use it anywhere, but mostly used for the go to horny jail meme. And of course, Helldivers being one meme of a game. And why is that a good thing? Let me tell you. The memes take what feeling or what vibe the song is giving and applies it onto an actual joke, an actual situation. And a very great example, coming back to God of War, is this video of someone making a joke about their mom and then their dad standing up.
Take out the trash, please.
Shut up, Mom. Dad, we're just joking. It's just a prank. It's just a prank.
It's okay.
Watch your tone, boy.
This is the feeling that we get from Kratos himself. The same goes for Doom music. And for a lot of people, they often don't even recognize the soundtracks. It's part of the game, but they can't really take it apart from the game. And if you are one of those people that plays a game and quickly forgets the soundtrack or doesn't really visit it afterwards, I recommend you do so, because it can bring back the feelings you felt while playing that game. In the case of God of War Ragnarok or God of War, it might make you cry, but in the case of Devil May Cry or Doom Eternal, it actually could motivate you while working out or doing something else that's productive. And maybe apart from Helldivers, I cannot see myself playing any of these games without the main soundtrack. Even though the Helldivers soundtrack is great, by the way, I don't want to bash on it, it's great. I just like listening to Doom Eternal music instead, since it can actually give me that feeling of having to demolish everything around me. To the meme community, please keep making memes about great soundtracks, keep doing it. It's absolutely great, it brings more attention to the soundtrack so that people come back and listen to it more. Because I am sure before the virtual memes that there were people that completely forgot about Bury the Light, and Bury the Light is such a great and incredible theme, and it should not be forgotten. Now, did you like this video about me talking about why I think soundtracks are so important? Do you want to add something? Go ahead, there's comments down there. Or if you'd like to just leave it at that, you can give me a like and be sure to subscribe. And I will see you in the very next video.